Hey everyone, DayTraderRockStar here with you for a focus list and watch list for Friday, Friday, June 24th. Really, I was feeling motivated today, watching the markets rally off of, an agreement between Greece and the European Union. And it was just, looking back at some of the charts and, going through some of the charts for setups for tomorrow, just, I want to touch base on the S&P, and just looking at the S&P chart, you can see that it's not a very menacing chart. In fact, we haven't even broken down through previous lows yet. There's tremendous amount of negativity in the markets. Now, this negativity has been absorbed by the market. You hear it every day; it gets pounded in. It's the media, and I kind of preach this every day on the show. It's just amazing how much we're affected, and we always have these new traders coming in. Now, I've been trading for 18 years, so you learn one thing. You learn that lots of times that when things are so obvious and people are preaching about it, then it's most likely not going to happen. And that's the case that I believe that's happening here. We're hearing so much about Greece defaulting and all these austerity plans and votes and stuff, yet we haven't really sold off. In a worst case scenario, the markets usually price in worst case scenarios and price in things anyway. So I would say the worst case scenario is priced in, and right now we're getting a nice technical bounce. And what I mean by that is just look at it. Look at we had a recent low. We're right on the 200 period moving average, but what really comes into play, and again, what I want to focus more and more on going into the summer is identifying high probability setups. And there are a couple different techniques I use, and one of them is again the 1, 2, 3 pivot area, and whatever pivot is going from down to up or up to down. So we look at those pivot areas, and then we look at these levels, and we actually take the top 2 pivot areas, or wherever we're going to see a pivot area, and you could throw a trend line in there at the close. I usually try to use the closing price, unless there's a large candlestick that seems to come into play. And then we automatically have the top trend line there. So we already have 2 pivots. And that third pivot's easy enough, is to, put that parallel trend line in. Just put a parallel line from this line is a straight line. All you do is put a dot, draw that line so it's parallel with that other line. And there you go. You have a nice little channel. And then you see that the market came right down to the channel, and it was actually a high probability setup. The stochastics were oversold. This is something you normally look, but because media tends to throw stuff in your face and make it look like it's the end of the world at this point, it's very hard to even sometimes accept the obvious, accept the obvious chart, because the fear factor here, like what happens if we break down? That's always going to be, that's human emotion. That's the greed, and that's the fear in the market, and that's something we have to conquer, and we conquer it on a tighter time frame. 1 minute chart, we move to the 5 minute chart, and then when it comes to the daily chart and the weekly chart, now let's not forget the weekly, brought to the room by a member saying, all right, let's look back at the weekly. You can see one of the biggest indicators I use is stochastics, and you can see the stochastics getting back into the oversold level, and this doesn't happen maybe once a year, and and that's usually a pretty decent signal. So we've actually pulled back very quickly on the weekly, right? But we've barely pulled back on the price level here. So this is telling me something. It's telling me something big. It's telling me now that no longer am I looking for a really big pullback here. I might be looking for a nice rally. I might take the opposite spectrum of the whole thing. I think we have enough power. If we get a crossover and start to move back up, we could really extend these gains, just based on momentum. So that's going to be seen. That's something that's going out on a limb making this call. But if I could look at the stochastics, look at the relative areas and how they move around, especially on the weekly chart, it does look like that could be a scenario playing out. Again, going out to the daily chart one more time, you can see the channel here. And again, this downward channel, we had a nice reversal candlestick today. Tomorrow's, it's Friday. Anything can happen. There's news out here that kind of caused this reversal. But even though I did feel some underlying strength, it was kind of a weird sell-off today, and I was pretty much biased to the upside all day, and we actually closed very strong. So futures are up now about 5 and change, and I'm very curious to see how tomorrow plays out. I would guess that we have some follow-through. In this case, I think it's a great opportunity to really trap some shorts here with a nice reversal candle. We could really get some momentum back up to the top of the channel line, and that's when people are going to start talking all of a sudden realizing this might be a very bullish setup instead of a very bearish setup. And I think technicals weigh out more than the conditions now in the world. This is a market where people want to make money. If we get reasons to make it more volatile, then great. People are more. So anyway, forget about the rest of that. We'll talk about that during the day. I just want to go over a few stocks I'm going to be watching tomorrow and Friday. Starting off with Open. Open Table is one that traded a while, and again with the crossovers and with the possible follow-through day tomorrow, I think a lot of these stocks could get some follow-through. So Open Table is one that's been in a nice channel, pulled under the 200 period moving average, finally looking pretty cheap. I mean, it looked cheap at 74, 79 now, so it's 6 points off of that level. So it's very hard for me to not nail this. I think it could have been nailed on the 60-minute chart. It had a nice lower trend line, and that 60-minute chart, if you could just concentrate, and again, another tip, just concentrate on when the stock is down at that level. You have a much better chance of probably getting that bounce. And a stock like this, a bounce is 2 to 3 points. That's what you're looking for. So you're having great setups on these stocks. Even in a downtrending market, I'm looking for those bounce plays. I mean, that's the trader I am. That's the type of trader I am. I take the risk out of the trade, look for the bounce, and and also look for the possible reversal. So you're looking for that. All right. So you get a point here, you get some runners here. You take it off. But at one point, you're going to start to see strength, and then you're going to realize there's going to be a breakout, and it's going to give you a nice trade out of this, too. So we're at that level on Open Table, OPEN. And so I would, I'm not calling any numbers. I like to cross over. I think there's good follow-through this volume. I think tomorrow could be a big day on Open. On semiconductor, the semiconductor is actually setting up. ONNN, again, just off the 200 period moving average. But what I like about this is you have a decent overhead area, decent high. And this is usually, stocks don't usually just pull back and drop right back. They usually move down, come back up, test, move down, come back up, test. And then, so we're at a level now where we're starting to turn back up. This is OPEN, excuse me. And, at this level, it does look kind of, the whole semiconductor index looks good. Even Intel, INTC, looks good down here, off the 200 period movement. They seem to be holding. They're still very bullish setups. Again, I don't know if I'm going to be dabbling in on tomorrow, but I think it's a good setup. Now, Penn Gaming is another stock I'd like to keep an eye on, and I just started checking it out today. Again, I said, "Wow, look at the strength it's been having in this market. This thing looks like it's about to break out the 52-week highs. We're right off the highs, and that might be a play in this volatile market. When you're looking at safety, there's a reason why we're holding up here right off the highs, and if we do get that rally, this is another stock that I'd be watching closely. Probably we're not going to mess with it at this point because I'm not in a high probability setup, which I'm always looking for. So I'm looking to get that stock here and capture that move. But there's definitely the shot of this stock continuing to move higher. So if you like that setup, run with it. All right, now some more stocks that I really like here. The RADS here, Radiant Systems, already holding some, but it does look like we're going to break out. It's been showing good relative strength. We're pushing up against 52-week highs, $21. I mean, it's good to go. So we'll watch for that one. And the other security stock, Radiant Systems, RADS, is point of sale technology, or that relates to the Google Wallet application, scanning things with your phone and stuff like that. But the FTNT is now pretty much a security stock, and this is an updated chart. You can't really see the 2-for-1 split that happened. It happened probably, where did it happen? Beginning of May or June, end of May, beginning of June. There was a 2-to-1 split, and then we pulled back, and now we're starting to break back out. I just expect this trend to continue, even more so. So we're tomorrow probably going to break out. Now, the question is, do you hold this for a longer term gain? I think this thing could easily go to $30, easy. Probably more, but we'll just we'll go by $5 increments right now. It takes time to hold on to that, but if you're looking at that type of return, I love it. If not, you want to try to trade a stock, and you get that pop, or you don't get that pop above 20, 25, 30, whatever. you can always take it, take it off here and then get in once it starts breaking out further. So, but I don't know what I'm going to do with that one tomorrow. If we get that breakout, I would like to probably stay in it. But maybe if we don't get the breakout, I'll probably take some profits. BTU. Great setup. Coal stocks, we nailed coal stocks down here. And again, this is a good example of looking at a stock and saying, all right, here's a stock I can continually make money off of. If I could identify the channel, if I could identify a possible rhythm to the stock, I then we're limiting my risk because I'm saying, all right, now at this point, I'm pretty much hopefully recognize this thing. So at this point, I'm taking the trade, and at this point, I'm taking the trade to the upside. Now we're, again, looking at this stock at the upside, not the optimal place to be in it, but stochastics look very interesting because you kind of coming out of a pattern there. It's been balancing. It looks like we're going to break out. It looks like we have the momentum, volume, and the sector is really good. So BTU and CNX. Both, and CNX even in the wedge pattern. I like these both. CNX, BTU, flip a coin. Tomorrow I might get into the CNX also. AOL. This one showed some weakness today, but this is a daily chart on this. And the daily, that last pullback, stochastics kind of crossed over. Did break down more than I expected. I definitely thought we were going to get this break up above the 200 period moving average. So right now, watching this one, a close back above the 20, or I would even say better, a break above that recent 2-day high, which I'm just going to put an estimate in, 2044. I would be long and strong here. I think we're going to get a run on this one. It's just a matter of timing. Maybe this was the last pullback. I'm not sure. If we start to see weakness under this point, I'll say sayonara. But until this point is broken, say $19, I'm going to probably hold it, stick this one out. AOL, that is. And here's the one that we haven't talked about, and I'm definitely looking at starting a position here. Alchemy, AKAM. Been waiting for it to come down. It didn't really get a big move here, but $29 is looking cheap to me. I don't. If we had a gap down or any type of move down in the next couple of days, I would buy into that gap down. I think we're very close to it. You're seeing a nice gap up here. You gap two gaps down. Usually the second gap gets a reversal at one point, and this is a long point. So we're really far off that gap. I think it's about time we get some upside. So I really like the 3-day consolidation. I think you could get this tomorrow. I'm probably going to start a position in this stock. I think it's a good swing position down at this level. Now, I bet we could even break this down on the 60-minute chart. I just want to try that fast. Now, you can see, yeah, I'm looking at the lower trend line entry. And if we get that 28, that would be fantastic. I mean, if we had a little breakdown for whatever reason, the shake and bake, downgrade, that would be great. A downgrade would be great. You need to pick that up down at that 28 level. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm willing to start scaling in here. Move down to 28 would just double me up. AKM. And I think that's going to be it. That's going to be going into tomorrow, Friday. I hope you enjoyed that. Just a little update, kind of catch us up and give you a little market update. Again, futures up. Looking for a pretty decent day tomorrow. It's going to be Friday, and it could tell us a lot on the direction of the markets. I will see you guys on DayTraderRadio.com. I'll be in tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and of course broadcasting all the way till 4 o'clock, bringing the best setups in the market.